Welcome to Beyond the Game, where we take a look into the lives of student athletes both within and beyond their game. I'm your host, Gina Chohara, and today I'm joined by a member of the women's golf team, Mara Janess. Mara, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
I'd like to start off by getting to know a little bit more about your journey to golfing. So tell me, what inspired your passion for golfing?
For sure. I would say my dad, he started golfing when he had me, and so when I was growing up, he slowly introduced me to the game, and I just began playing and eventually fell in love with it. I think the best part was that I was never pressured into the game, and so I think that's pretty much where my love came from. I just started playing and eventually realized I could be pretty good at the sport, and I'm now here in college, and I've taken it as far as I've gotten here now. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
You mentioned the role of your father, so I'm also curious to know, have you had a coach or a mentor who has also had a large impact on your trajectory to golf? And if so, who was it and what effect did they have?
Absolutely. I think my dad plays a huge role in that, just with him introducing me to the game. But actually both of my parents have never missed a tournament, and so it's pretty special to have such a great bond with them, but for them to be able to support me throughout my entire career. But I've had multiple coaches growing up. I think there's the ups and downs that come with changing coaches and then moving to college and finding a new coach here, both swing coach and then through the university. So it's been really cool. I feel like I have a great team behind me that supports me in every step that I make.
And soon that passion led you to Michigan. At what point did you realize that you both wanted to and were able to pursue your passion for golf at the collegiate level?
For sure. I think I had a breakthrough moment my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
I placed decently in state amongst a really tough crowd and was inspired by everyone around me. There were a lot of girls that were graduating their senior year that year, going to play at the D1 level, and that was something that I thought was really cool. I was very inspired by that, and so taking that to the next level and began training harder, working harder. I actually started with a new coach at that time, and then I won state my sophomore year, and so at that point I was like, this is really something for me, and I just began emailing coaches and pursued that dream of playing at the collegiate level.
And after choosing to pursue that dream, you chose Michigan. Can you walk me through the path that led you to the University of Michigan?
Absolutely. I obviously have made the best decision ever. I love it here, and it's been an incredible experience. I was a little bit kind of messed up by the whole COVID situation, and so my recruiting was a little different than it is normally. I wasn't able to go on many visits, and so a lot of my visits were done through Zoom and just virtual tours of facilities and stuff like that. And so it was a tough decision trying to figure out, which school I thought would be a great fit for me. But ultimately just the academics and everything that Michigan has to offer athletically, but also just the experience amongst other sports and the school camaraderie here is really special. And so at the end, it really made my decision easy that Michigan was the place for me.
And you came off your high school season being ranked #1 golfer in Illinois and 91 overall nationally. What was the most challenging part transitioning into the collegiate sport at the University of Michigan?
Yeah, I will say golf is not easy. Many people know that. And going from having such high success in my high school career to coming to college and just being at the next level, it was really difficult. Ultimately, I decided to redshirt my freshman year here. We had a really strong team with 3 of my teammates from freshman year going pro. So it was obviously great training and being alongside them throughout their ending journeys in college, but it was really difficult for me to step into that next level, and it was a little eye-opening. And so I used that year to just work as hard as I could, and it has really paid off. I've had a lot of success in the past 2 years competing.
You touched a little bit on your decision to elect to redshirt. Could you tell me a little bit more about what that decision process looks like?
For sure. So ultimately, I did not see any competition my freshman year, meaning that I have an extra year if I so choose to take that after my senior year. And so just having basically that whole year of practice experience without competing ended up being a great experience for me, just learning how to deal with the hardships of not playing, but also just to improve my game and learn how to be a college athlete.
So you've talked about the training and the work that you put in, especially during your redshirt season. I'm curious to know all around, what does a training regimen look like while preparing for a big invitational?
For sure. There's a lot that goes into it. It kind of goes in stages depending on where we're at in our season. Typically in season, we're working out 2 to 3 times a week, incorporating cardio, strength training, and mobility. Mobility being a huge key to our success in keeping our bodies ready. But then it's just a lot of block practices, including chipping, putting, long game, irons, everything. And so really finding that balance of all 3 of those aspects of the game in order to maximize your talent. And it looks different for every player. I specifically spend a lot more time on my short game and my putting than I do on my long game, just because those are areas that I feel like I can make the most improvements. And those are areas that lower my scoring at each tournament. And so just each player focusing on the things in the areas that they believe need the most work and that will pay off in the long run is pretty much what our practices typically look like.
And after preparing, what does a typical tournament weekend look like?
For sure. We're actually gearing up to head to a tournament this weekend, and so we'll leave on typically a Friday night. Each tournament is different in terms of the days that we leave. Some tournaments are over the weekend, others are Monday or Sunday, Monday. So they look different, but in terms of travel, we'll typically, for example, we'll fly out on Friday night. We'll play a practice round all day Saturday, which includes a couple hours of practice, and then we go out on the course and we see the whole course. We take a ton of notes. It's about a 6-hour round, and we just pretty much analyze the entire course and figure out how we can score the best. And then for this tournament, for example, we'll play 36 holes on Sunday. So wow. It's a long day. The course opens at 6:30 a.m. and we're basically there till the sun goes down. So it's a grind and it's a long day, but that's what we train for, and that's where all of our strength training and cardio comes into play, is keeping up that stamina for those long days. And then our last day of the tournament will typically be 18 holes, followed by an awards ceremony, and then we hop on a plane and fly home. So it's a quick weekend. They're typically busy and exhausting, but it's a lot of fun.
You said how exhausting. I could only imagine 6 hours of just practically warming up, then followed by so much golf played in such a short amount of time. What does your recovery look like?
Absolutely. So each time we get home from a tournament, we always have a day off. For me, that looks like is getting as much sleep as I possibly can. But those are the days that I typically just drop my golf clubs and I don't even really think about golf. A lot of it is just mental recovery. It's like, that was exhausting and took a lot of brain power. So I'm just going to, focus on the things that I need to get done on that off day. As interesting as it sounds, a lot of us use it to do like our laundry and grocery shopping and all of that stuff, just to fit those necessary items in throughout our weeks. But yeah, it's just we try and get as much downtime as we can, although it is difficult with school on top of it. So.
Of course, and being on a team with only 7 other female golfers, how does the team dynamic impact performance?
Absolutely. It's such a tough sport. Our whole team doesn't travel every time we go, so most of the time we'll travel with 5 to 6 players, just depending on whether we have an individual spot or not. And so that part is tough. It's hard not being on the road with your entire team, and it's tough for the players who maybe aren't traveling that week, just to deal with the desire to be competing, and so while we're at home, we really try and foster our team dynamic and really focus on that, and try and lift each other up. And it's a big part of having a great team dynamic leads to better play. And so I think ultimately just trying to foster those moments while we're at home, and we make a lot of great memories while we're on the road. It's difficult when we're not all together. But yeah, I think a lot of team dynamic and team building happens both at home and on the road.
And how would you say your team stays unified through setbacks that you face throughout the season?
For sure. I think we always just focus on, we have one goal. Multiple goals, but the one goal of, performing well. And you can't let one setback bring you down. And that's been a big focus for us, is uplifting each other, staying together, knowing that we're doing the right things to reach those goals that we want. And setbacks are going to happen. And so just trusting in the process of we're doing the right things on a daily basis. We wake up, we work hard, we practice hard, we're diligent with our work. And if we do those things on a daily basis and create good habits, we know that we're going to perform well in the end.
And Mara, you got a hole-in-one at the Big Ten Championships. You are an academic All-American. You qualified and got to round 32 of the U.S. Women's Golf Amateur Championship. What moment have you been most proud of throughout your collegiate season?
Oh, gosh. I mean, they've all been really great memories. It's just really cool to be a part of and to look back and think of all the things that I've done. And ultimately, I feel proud of those things. It just is satisfying to see those accomplishments. Working so hard in school to become an All-American is pretty special. But that tournament over the summer, getting to the round of 32 at the U.S. Women's Amateur Championship, it was just incredible. The course was so hard, and I was just playing some of my best golf that I've played in a while. And I think good golf kind of comes and goes, and so to have those moments where you are playing really well, it just boosts a lot of confidence, and that's what I experienced in that event. And so ultimately that's the biggest event in women's golf, and it was just an incredible experience. So many of my friends and family were there, and definitely something I'll never forget. So I think that's my most proud moment there.
In addition, you have led the Wolverines in 2 events, posting 1 top 10 finish, and are at a 73.67 averaging score, which is one of the best of your careers. What goals do you still have moving forward for the rest of your season?
Absolutely. I typically think of goals in a different way, and it's something that's interesting about me, but I'm more so motivated on a day-to-day goal. I don't always have the big picture goal. For some reason, that's something that motivates me more. And just making sure that I work hard on a daily basis. I am intentional about what I do in my practices and my lifts and academics and everything. And so doing those things on a daily basis to reach that end goal is more important for me. And that end goal is just like overall success and me being happy and satisfied with where I get. So it's just a daily grind.
And it's evident that so much time and dedication is put into that success. So I'm curious to know, when you're not on the course and have a day off, where might someone find you?
I'm not gonna lie, I love spending some time on the couch on those days. It's kind of the only time we've got to just chill and relax, and so I like a good Netflix show.
What's your favorite Netflix show?
Oh, gosh. I was into Grey's Anatomy for a while and then moved to Gossip Girl. So, those long shows that kind of drag on for a while, but they're an easy watch. And it's just kind of mindless activity. And so, like I was saying, on those off days when we have the time to relax and kind of regroup, those are kind of the things that I like to do.
And on the educational side, I know that you're majoring in sport management and minoring in business. Did your love for golf play any role in your educational aspirations?
Absolutely. I love sports just in general, beyond golf. And so I think just my passion for that is leading me in the sport management direction. My dad is also in the sports business world, and so a little bit following in his footsteps of just all the cool experiences that sport business brings, and the cool connections that you get to have is just really what inspires me as well.
So you've had the opportunity to experience Michigan as both a student as well as an athlete. What has been your favorite Michigan moment thus far?
I would definitely say winning the national championship in football is up there. That was incredible. Rushing the street where everyone was in Ann Arbor, just experiencing the happiness that everyone felt, and people were lighting off fireworks. You know, it was a cool experience, something that I won't forget. And I like to think about, you know, the amount of people that get to experience a national championship while they're in college is pretty few. And so being a part of that was really special.
And before we wrap up, I'd like to get to know a little bit more about your perspective on the sport of golf. And in most prominent sports in the U.S., rule changes are constantly incorporated. So if you could change, whether that be adding or removing a rule or regulation, what would it be and why?
For sure. I personally think that golf takes too long. I think that whether we moved it from 18 holes to 12 holes, or there was just a time limit on the amount of time like that it could take you to hit a shot, whether it's, you know, a max of 40 seconds or something like that, I think that would improve the pace of golf. College golf is extremely slow. Some of our rounds take 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
In those days we have to play 36 holes. We're out there 12 hours. And so it's just a long day, and I absolutely totally enjoy it. But I just think that sometimes it's too long. And I think the faster we could play, the better it is. So that would be my rule change.
I love that. And
Yeah.
additionally, golf is considered to be a male-dominated sport. How do you see this evolving as you continue throughout your career?
For sure. I mean, I think it's really improved as I've gotten older. Being in the golf world for over 10 years now, I think that more and more people, specifically females, are starting to play. You know, my mom is just getting introduced to it, and so she goes out and plays with a lot of her friends. And so I think that's really cool to see, is that women of all ages can continue to play. You know, and I think what's so great about golf is that you can basically play it at any age. And so it really doesn't matter when you start. Anyone can get into it. And I think that's what's really special. It's not one of those sports like basketball where, you know, you become a mom and you're like, well, I'm not going to play basketball anymore. So I think golf is really special in that aspect, where you can play it really at any age. And I think that's what's helping the female population get into the game a little bit more.
And lastly, what advice would you give to a young female golfer who aspires to play at the D1 level?
For sure. I think just take the game with its ebbs and flows. While there's going to be many downs, there's also a lot of ups. And so just sticking to it, finding a coach that you enjoy working with and that you like, and just working hard. It's such a cool game. You get to meet so many great people, and it doesn't even just, you know, matter for the game of golf. It's beyond that. It's really cool. It gives you a lot of life skills that I think are really important. And so just sticking with it. And honestly, the best part is just enjoying it, doing your best to enjoy every moment, all the experiences you get, traveling, meeting people, playing cool courses. All of that is it's really special. And so enjoying every single moment that you get is ultimately going to be how you enjoy it the most and have the most fun with it. So that's my piece of advice.
Mara, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so amazing getting to know more about you and your journey to golf.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Thank you so much for joining us at Beyond the Game, and
Go
Blue!